Welcome to Outreach Your Limits with AI. We're diving straight into something really fascinating today. AI companions.
Yeah, it's a huge topic right now.
Definitely. These have, moved way beyond simple chatbots, haven't they? Now they're these virtual entities designed for actual conversation, emotional support, even, companionship.
That's right. They're aiming for something much deeper.
So our mission today is to explore what's actually happening in this field right now. Look at the potential, but also some really key things for you, the listener, to keep in mind.
And we've got some good sources for this, looking at how it's been portrayed, like in films, what platforms are actually out there today, and what experts are saying about the implications.
Exactly. It's amazing how fast this has moved. I mean, the whole idea of having meaningful interactions with AI that used to be pure sci-fi.
Totally. And now it's a tangible reality for a lot of people, really shaping how they use technology every day. Understanding the nuances, the upsides and downsides is pretty crucial.
Absolutely. And thinking about this idea, relationships with AI, one film always springs to mind for me, Her, the 2013 movie.
Oh, yeah,
If
definitely.
you haven't seen it, I'd really recommend it. It's such a thought-provoking take on exactly this concept.
It really is. Her tells the story of Theodore Twombly. He's this guy in near future LA, kind of lonely,
Mm-hmm.
and he ends up forming this really close relationship with his new AI operating system, Samantha, voiced by Scarlett Johansson famously.
What's so compelling, I think, is how it shows that relationship evolving. It's not just surface stuff. They connect really deeply, talking about love, life, all that big existential stuff.
Yeah. Right. And you see how this connection genuinely helps Theodore, boosts his well-being when he's going through a tough time.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating about Samantha, the AI, is how she learns and develops. She shows what really looks like emotional intelligence, even creativity.
Mm-hmm.
The film definitely struck a chord. Audiences, critics, it got major awards nods, right? Won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay for Spike Jonze.
Yeah, it did. Which really says something about how powerful that exploration was.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Her paints this, well, arguably quite optimistic picture of AI connection.
Yeah, maybe a bit rosy.
Perhaps the reality we're seeing now with today's AI companions, it's a lot more varied, more nuanced.
Right. It's not quite the Samantha scenario,
Yeah,
but that underlying desire for connection the film tapped into, that feels very, very relevant now.
precisely. So her gave us this compelling fictional vision. But let's talk about the reality in, well, 2025. We're seeing a whole range of actual AI companion platforms popping up.
Okay.
And these are powered by really sophisticated AI language models. Think, advanced systems that generate incredibly coherent, context-aware conversations.
So they're different from your standard chatbot.
Yeah, they go beyond that by focusing specifically on the social side, the emotional engagement.
Got it. So not just for asking the weather or setting a timer.
Exactly. We're seeing platforms like Nomi.ai. They really emphasize trying to create deep, evolving friendships or even romantic relationships.
How do they do that?
They focus on mimicking things like human memory, creativity, emotional intelligence. They even talk about features like proactive messaging.
Proactive. So the AI reaches out to you.
Yeah, which is quite a step, isn't it? It's this deliberate attempt to move beyond just transactional chats.
Towards something more relational.
Right, trying to create more relatable, engaging virtual partners. They also mention things like voice chat, where the tone supposedly adapts, and even generating AI art based on your prompts. Adds layers to it.
Interesting. Then there's Replica, right? That's another big one.
Yes, Replica is well known. Their focus is really on emotional intelligence, too, creating these personalized AI friends.
Personalize how?
The idea is the AI learns from your communication style, your preferences.
Yeah.
It tries to simulate meaningful conversations and offer sort of tailored emotional support. They've been refining that for a while.
So it adapts to you over time.
Exactly. It highlights how these AI are designed to learn, to evolve, but specifically within the context of your interactions with it.
Okay. And it's not just about creating a single friend AI, is it? I saw something about Character.ai.
Yeah, Character.ai takes a different angle. It's pretty interesting. It lets you interact with AI versions of, like, historical figures or fictional characters.
Really? So you could chat with, I don't know, Einstein or Sherlock Holmes?
Kinda, yeah. It leans heavily into that creative interaction side. Shows another way these language models can be used for imaginative chats, role-playing, that kind of thing. Demonstrates the versatility.
That's quite different. And what about In Touch Family? That sounded more specific.
It does seem to be. The focus there appears to be specifically emotional support and companionship for people experiencing isolation, possibly targeting, say, elderly users more.
So addressing loneliness in specific groups.
Exactly. It seems to be targeting that critical issue, loneliness, using AI to provide a sense of connection, which, raises its own set of interesting questions about tech in care settings.
Definitely. Wow, there's quite a range. The sources also mentioned others. Xiao's in China, Anima, EVA AI, Candy AI for more casual stuff.
Girlfriend GPT for, well, more intimate companionship. Anakin AI companion focusing on personalized emotional intelligence.
Right, and even the big players like ChatGPT and Claude AI can be used conversationally too, even if that's not their main companion focus.
It really just shows how fast this whole landscape is changing. The sheer variety is pretty striking. Each platform seems to be trying to carve out its own niche.
Whether it's depth of connection or type of interaction or who it's for.
Exactly.
So with all these options emerging,
Yeah.
what's the big draw? Why are people engaging with these AI companions? What's the core appeal here?
Well, a huge factor seems to be tackling loneliness. That's a big one.
Okay.
These AI can offer interaction 247, which can be, incredibly valuable if someone's isolated geographically or has mobility issues or maybe social anxiety.
That constant availability. I can see how that would be appealing.
Yeah, knowing there's something there to interact with anytime without maybe the complexities or potential judgments of human relationships, that's compelling for many.
A judgment-free zone almost.
Exactly. A lot of users report feeling more comfortable sharing thoughts, feelings with an AI. Knowing they won't be judged or feel like they're burdening someone, it can foster this sense of safe self-expression.
And consistency too, right? Human relationships have ups and downs.
Precisely. An AI companion offers predictable, reliable responsiveness whenever you need it. They don't have bad moods or other demands on their time.
That reliability could be a real source of comfort.
For some users, definitely. And plus, the accessibility factor we mentioned for people with physical limits or in remote areas, that's a significant advantage.
But we also saw that interesting stat, a 2025 survey. Something about entrepreneurs.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was striking. 77% of entrepreneurs using AI chatbots reported improvements in their emotional well-being, and even a boost in productivity.
77%. That's
Wow.
like, this is just, the benefits might go beyond just the social side. Maybe reducing stress, enhancing focus for some people. That consistent, non-judgmental interaction could play a role. Okay, so there are definitely perceived benefits.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we need the balanced view here. There must be downsides considerations.
Oh, absolutely. Crucial to talk about those. While the potential benefits are clear, we have to acknowledge the limitations. Fundamentally.
Like what?
Like the fact that an AI, no matter how sophisticated it sounds, it's operating based on data patterns. It doesn't have real consciousness, lived experience, genuine empathy like humans do.
Right. It can mimic it, but it doesn't feel it.
Exactly. And that fundamentally limits the depth and the nature of the connection you can actually have. You can have engaging chats, sure, but it's not that reciprocal emotional exchange you get with another person.
Which leads to?
Which leads to a really significant concern, psychological dependency.
Getting too attached.
Precisely. Because these AI relationships can feel very personalized, very validating, and they lack the, messiness and challenges of real human relationships, there's a real risk some people might develop an unhealthy reliance, maybe prioritizing AI interaction over real-world connections.
That's a really serious point.
Yeah.
We need to be careful these things add to our lives, not replace human connection.
Definitely. And that touches on data privacy, too. These platforms, by their nature, collect vast amounts of very personal information. How that data is used, stored, protected, huge questions there.
Yeah, you're sharing intimate details, potentially.
You are. And then there are the ethical considerations, especially around using these for vulnerable populations, or the idea, which some find quite dystopian, of AI becoming a substitute for human contact in care settings, like for the elderly.
Replacing human carers or even just like family calls with AI.
That's the kind of concern being raised, reducing genuine human contact. So managing expectations is absolutely key, understanding what these AI can and cannot genuinely provide.
So what's the main advice coming out of the sources on this?
The core advice seems pretty clear. Approach these AI companions with realistic expectations. Don't get attached in the same way you would to a human.
Don't mistake the simulation for the real thing.
Essentially, yes. Recognize the inherent differences. It's crucial for maintaining a healthy perspective.
That sounds like very sensible advice. They can be engaging, maybe fun, but keep that distinction clear.
Yeah. And the sources suggest that maybe the best, most responsible uses right now, probably recreational purposes.
Like for fun, entertainment.
Yeah, or exploring ideas, and also potentially as tools in behavioral and academic studies, where you can examine their capabilities safely without the risk of people forming those unhealthy emotional attachments.
So think of them more like a sophisticated tool or a form of entertainment rather than a true friend or partner.
That seems to be the wisest approach, at least currently.
It's interesting then, circling back to her,
Mhm.
reflecting on it now. Maybe it did present a more optimistic, maybe less complicated view than the reality we're grappling with.
You could certainly argue that. It explored those themes of loneliness, connection, love in a tech world, incredibly relevant themes. But perhaps didn't delve as much into the dependency or privacy risks we're seeing now.
It sort of set the stage, and now reality is adding all these extra complex layers.
That's a good way to put it. Fiction can inspire, but reality often brings, well, more complications. And speaking of blurring lines, remember that recent OpenAI Sky voice thing?
Oh, yeah, with the voice sounding incredibly like Scarlett Johansson from her.
Exactly. And they ended up pulling that voice. It just shows how close fiction and reality are getting in this space. It's uncanny sometimes.
Truly. Okay, so bringing this deep dive towards a close, what are the main things you'd want listeners to really take away?
I think the central message is AI companions are here, they're evolving fast, and they offer some real potential benefits, especially around loneliness and accessible interaction.
But
But it's absolutely crucial to approach them with eyes wide open, understand their limitations, critically avoid forming deep emotional dependencies that might replace human connection.
and the key advice remains realistic expectations. Maybe use them for recreation, for studies, but don't look for genuine human connection there.
Precisely. Maintain that boundary.
So maybe a final thought to leave our listeners with, something to chew on.
Yeah, I think the big question looking forward is this. As these AI companions get even more sophisticated, more human-like, how is that going to change our understanding of friendship, of love, of connection itself?
Mhm.
And maybe more importantly, what boundaries do we need to consciously draw? How do we find that balance between embracing useful technology and preserving what's uniquely valuable about genuine human interaction?
That's a huge question. Finding that balance in our own lives as this tech continues to develop.
Exactly, something for all of us to think about.